Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the Sonic 3 movie by Paramount. This franchise has been a roller coaster to follow, from the original ugly Sonic design to now having Keanu Reeves play Shadow the Hedgehog. Not to mention the film outgrossing Mufasa, Sonic 3 is satisfying for both new and old fans alike. Shadow's story is adapted amazingly for the film universe. I really felt for his pain and loss for Maria, and when he seeks justice for her death, revenge is the only option. Team Sonic gets a great arc to show the difference between Shadow's past and Sonic currently. Although this fight between good versus evil might seem simple on paper, in execution it's phenomenal and hits nearly every beat a Sonic fan could ask for. Former complaints about the films were about the human characters or movie Sonic being too goofy. While I didn't mind the silly antics the human characters fell into, their role is a lot more entangled into the plot. Without them, certain parts of the mission wouldn't be possible, and they never overstay their welcome. Jim Carrey returned to not only play Ivo, but also Gerald Robotnik. This was going to be chaotic from the jump, and I love every second of it. Movie Sonic is definitely more silly in nature, but in Sonic 3, his character is more defined, and Ben Schwartz gives his best performance yet. If you're by any chance hesitant on seeing the film, it's a no-brainer watch. Sonic fans especially have either seen it already or plan to watch it this Christmas. Even if you know nothing about Sonic the Hedgehog, the film does an outstanding job building Shadow's story and the stakes at hand here. Obviously, watching the previous films will make Sonic 3's experience overall better, but I think fun times can still be had here.
So yeah, Sonic 3 is fantastic and it does pretty much everything you would want from a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation. Now, that's my non-spoiler section for this review. If you guys are still dodging Sonic 3 movie spoilers, click off the video now and come back after you watch the film. Otherwise, let's discuss.
First, Shadow in Sonic 3 takes over the film. He's the first CGI character we see, and for good reason. While the story is shared with Sonic, this is Shadow's movie. Admittedly, when I first watched the film at the fan event, I missed a good portion of the movie and arrived in my seat when Team Sonic meets Shadow. I still thought the film was great, but I knew I missed certain plot details. So, watching the first film with Prison Island on my rewatch was outstanding. It showed Shadow's power and the threat he may be, and that one scene with Shadow walking around in rainy Tokyo was straight peak. Inserting Shadow's backstory with Maria was done very tastefully. The characters don't talk to each other until they're on the roof, staring at the stars. Watching their relationship play out through actions rather than words made for Maria's eventual death hit hard. You can see how much they enjoyed each other's company, which is why after 50 years, the only solution for Shadow is revenge on Gunn and the world as a whole. Details of Shadow's past were inserted at the correct moments every single time. The best example is when Sonic rushes to Tom. Shadow sees himself in that moment with Maria. TurboJet, a Sonic content creator, pointed out how Shadow's path for revenge is all from his own desires. No false memories or promise Maria made. It's all because of the anger he feels from losing her. And when he asks Sonic if the pain ever goes away, Sonic's answer is what Shadow needed to hear to realize the error of his ways. This is such a beautiful way to adapt Shadow's story, and I'm so happy with how Sonic 3 played it out. This might be the best version of Shadow, plus he's voiced by the amazing Keanu Reeves, who brings the extra edge for the character. It's literally impossible to not make Shadow cool in this movie. He steals the spotlight every single time. Ben Schwartz, though, man, he really turned up his performance after Tom is hospitalized. I low-key thought he was gonna die in the movie, but he couldn't go away that easily. Schwartz's voice for Sonic never got that intense until the third act began. I think anyone complaining about the quote-unquote movie Sonic being too goofy was shut down fast once he locked in. Super Sonic vs. Super Shadow is every Sonic fan's dream, no matter how old you are. Those sequences were amazing, and the new version of Live and Learn made those scenes 10 times better. The music choices overall were pretty damn good, even dialing the sad/emotional scenes to 11. Team Sonic have their own story revolved around teamwork, and while it's not something Tom and Maddie explicitly point out, it does become a reoccurring theme for these characters. Like Sonic, when he tries to go past the barrier, Tails has to shoot him through for the extra speed. Or when Knuckles has to save Sonic and Tails falling down into the Earth's atmosphere. You can argue Tails and Knuckles don't necessarily do much in the grand scheme of things, but their roles are still vital to the ongoing mission. They are just as important as Sonic, even if Tails and Knuckles aren't consistently in the action. Like, who else was going to save Eggman after Gerald carelessly threw him away? Speaking of the Robotniks, Jim Carrey gave Sonic fans one hell of a show. Him playing Gerald was a surprise, but the fact that he even returned for a third film was a miracle already. Eggman's characterization is spot on for what we've seen previously. He's obviously getting manipulated by Gerald the entire time until he realizes the plan is to destroy everything, including themselves. Some don't like this version of Gerald, but I don't know, the extremely evil, bitter, bad guy approach worked for me. He's over 100 years old, imprisoned for 50 of those years. Who would like humanity after being locked up all that time? I might argue Gerald doesn't even have a character in the grand Sonic universe, and Sonic 3 made him fit to contextualize Shadow's story. His death, I think, was fine too, just getting like fly swatted or whatever. These are kids' movies still, and these are played for comedy. Trying to expect like he was going to get gunned down or some sort of big explicit death was, I don't know, maybe a little far out there. If that's what you want in your Sonic movies, then that's what you want. But I think for these films from Paramount, I think his death was fine. Eggman sacrificing himself in the end is probably the last we'll see of Jim Carrey. Not that I don't want him to return, but there's no way he survived that explosion. Shadow living is one thing, but maybe he saved Eggman on the way out? Agent Stone is still a delight in these films, and hopefully we'll see more of him in the future. The handling of Gunn was fine, nothing more than a super military faction that ties into Shadow's past. I love Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, and I liked her role here as Director Rockwell. She was serious, but still had moments to be goofy. Now, let's talk about the after credit scene. Yes, that after credit scene with Metal Sonic and Amy. Metal Sonic looked amazing and on model from his look in the games. Amy Rose swooping in to save the day makes sense if they wish to adapt Sonic CD. Although it was like less than 5 minutes of action, this after credit scene blew everyone's mind, and rightfully so. I honestly have no clue what direction the Sonic 4 movie will go in. With Eggman likely out of the picture, how will everything connect? I'm not going to theorize, but I fully trust Jeff Fowler and the rest of the team to figure that out. Side note, the Sega Saturn polygon models for the credits was a nice touch. I could honestly play a full Sonic game that looks like this, but I digress.
That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in terms of the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have not already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. Follow me on social media at TV Sonic Gaming. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everything. And you can check out my podcast called the Travis and Damien Podcast. Talk about games, movies, and anime every other week. And yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video once again. Now, see you guys next time with more videos.